It's gonna be what they say. This is gonna be a nail biter. Let's give honor to Source. Let's give honor to the Creator, to the Most High, for making all this possible. Why in this world, when people are going through, if y'all want to call them hard times, have setbacks in life and shit, I don't realize like how far people have gotten away from not just integrity, but empathy and compassion. Why is it that, I'm gonna just use my experience, just as a darker man, why is it that it's projected to the world at a point in time that it's natural for people to struggle, even as being darker? As if finances are everything. When you're talking about the depths of really people who have learned so much of self-sabotaging behavior. And then when they're trying to correct them day to day, because you don't know people's life. I use my life for experience. My father, my dad was telling me on the phone, the other day, like, he said, man, people gonna look at your life and they see you accomplishing all these things. They may have all these things, but they looking up to you, son. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you accomplishing all these things. And people don't realize, like, bro, like, y'all don't realize what be going through people's life. Because y'all so used to seeing people fake it till they make it. I ain't faking shit. I don't have to. And I'm not asking for sympathy. I just realized, like, when you're pioneering a path, ain't nobody coming to hold your hand. Ain't nobody gonna baby you. Because people, you'll see the envious and jealous ones sit back when you go through some shit. And they'll purposely won't support you because they know that if they do, you'll get to your said goal or whatever it is faster. Or you'll live a life what they perceive as better. And really, no one has a better life, man. To the youth, no one has a better life. Y'all would never know that in the midst of me publishing my books and going through all that, I had to have support from my partner when I didn't even have a dime at that moment. When people think, oh, I did it on my own, or we want to perceive to the world like we did it on our own, no one really truly does it on their own. Your mother and father had to meet. You had to be in that relationship for that person to remind you. I'm not saying you don't do things individually, but no one truly does a lot of things on their own. A lot of things is conspired for certain things to be aligned. So again, y'all don't know that, me finding out, getting my, recently me finding out, getting my books, them going global. Like, bro, that's in the process of having what? Fucking $20 to my name. Going through a major transition right now. Of honestly having an eviction. Not me personally, but my partner, because of certain things we just had to navigate through to where, I went through just by standing in integrity. I feel like at the time I was targeted at a place where I knew that people had internal racism or just had a vendetta since I arrived there because I stood in my truth, because I spoke my truth. Because I was lied on in a position. And what did that do? That set us back. And people are afraid and they want to, I'm not finna fucking project to the world. I've had to tell my daughter, I had to tell her, like, look, daddy going through things. Mom and daddy had to go through this. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, we may have to shift. We may have to go through some things right now, but this is not the all be all. This is temporary. And I feel like that's important to even tell our kids young, because they're looking up at us, because our actions, they're looking at our actions so they can literally mirror or, and I feel like people keep that from their kids so much that you don't even realize, like, You're keeping the fact of you repressing emotions, repressing things that don't want to show your kids that you're probably not only going through some type of mental illness or going through something and you're holding it in, but then that causes suppressing that emotion for over years affects your not only your mental health, that mental health trickles down, to your emotional and to your physical health. So me coming on here, it's like, I'm not looking for no fucking sympathy. I'm giving y'all the real and raw. People go through stuff. It's human nature. You can be up one day and just like that. Before I ever judge anyone or compare my path, most of what you see on these videos, and I don't blame nobody, because I had to get to a place where, for one, I had to learn what feels home to me before I can even feel secure somewhere. I had to sit down with my partner and say, I can see why certain behaviors that I learned that has nothing to do with you and other people that I connected with in the past, I can see how that my behavior could have ruined or affected their life. Acknowledging that shit, so that I don't have to move on unconsciously, continuing a behavior that affects everybody involved. That's a cycle breaker. You think I want to go through certain situations where, I'm finding out, my books went global. I still have to find the time to celebrate a milestone, even through a transition where going through an eviction, then having to stay places where it seems uncomfortable or try to find a new place, not just for yourself, but going through the emotions, going through the uncomfortability of like, where am I going to be? Where are my kids going to be? Certain things. And then not to mention you ask, because this is fucking projection to the world, you ask as a man like, you're supposed to provide and protect, you're supposed to do all this. And no one really cares about our mental health. No one really cares. Are you okay? How are you feeling? Do you even feel worthy enough to get up and go work? Because it's projected to us. You go, 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 go. You got to protect. You got to do this. And I told myself I won't leave a legacy telling my son that he got to go out there and bust his ass and sacrifice his well-being for who? His partner, his kids? Absolutely not. Because I sit here and connect with relatives and elders and stuff, and literally sit back and I see them suffer because they're holding so much in. Or they're like, well, if I don't go do this, then, maybe. This is millions of Americans right now. That I told y'all, the mental health. You're asking people to just get up and go and forget about their well-being, man. I'm not the first. I'm just talking about it. It's a real thing, especially as a man. My dad was like, you got one of the toughest challenges in this world, just being a darker man. I know he's relating that from his experience. But a lot of these things come from people's experiences of, that's all they know. And when you're a cycle breaker, I don't want to be that's all I know. That I just got to go out there and work my fingers to the bone. I'm a creator. I'm literally focused on creating a life I don't have to vacation from. Most people can't understand that. Well, how are you going to do that? Because you're not a risk taker. Because you want to sit back and do the same thing. And you will have relatives, you will have people sit back and project, judge, and say, he don't want to do this, he don't want to do that, and not realize, like, y'all have no idea the mental things that you have to get through day to day just as a man, as a darker man in the country, where you're just stereotyped just to be a criminal or good for nothing, only just to be angry walking around, classified as a criminal because of the way you wear your hair. Your anger is not justifiable. Whatever you do is never good enough. Like, y'all don't even realize, like, I had to tell my partner, and she just now getting it, because a lot of women, y'all don't even get it. You're literally telling a man to sacrifice his dreams, his admirations, or whatever, his purpose to support you. And all we're asking for, and when I realized how much I had to break cycles and to really pour into myself and not forget about myself this time around and not ever again. No matter how uncomfortable it is. I know no one truly will never get the depths of this story or my purpose, because the vision was never given to them. I just share real and raw stuff because when something happens in life, people just automatically assume like everything be revealed. Everybody, the Most High will show the hearts around the people who, even if they could give, that's still appreciation, that's gratitude. Before people judge and then all of a sudden the tables turn and they're in the same position. Don't ever think, to my youth, don't ever think that your ass cannot be in a position. Ever. Before you judge someone, because some people will see this and they will judge and be like, you know well you should have did, well, you should have go to work. You don't know people's circumstances. You don't know their vices internally that they're battling with. Like I said, this is not a sympathy. This is not a, you got people crying out. This is not even a cry out. This is just what comes from my heart to share with. I've sat with myself, I always say, and then come to the collective. People will sit back, watch you go through things, and literally just assume like you're just like everyone else. They'll base your experiences off their own experiences. And that's all we're all doing. They'll base, well, I remember I helped such and such. They ain't do this and they ain't do that. And it's okay. Because that just shows that how much people still stay stagnant and they never prosper or expand their consciousness or their awareness in life, because they don't even realize their belief system is so centered around just selfishness, ego, pride, and so forth. Until that moment happens to them, and then their ego is exposed, their wounded ego or their pride, and so forth. So when people, you know what I'm saying, anyone that especially knows me, know where I come from, I don't ever want myself or my kids or anyone that I'm connected to ever go through said experiences. But then I ask myself, the divine's like, why not you? Because I want you to share your message through it. Life is happening. Life will still happen. And then we have this, I was telling my partner, I was like, you always hear about motivational speakers motivating people like to keep going, keep going. I said the difference between me and I'm an empowering speaker. I'm going to hold your ass accountable. I'm going to say something very uncomfortable, but to lead you back to yourself. And motivation is a part of it, but also accountability is the other part of it. These things happen for us to see the accountability on how, let's say this from my experience. I was telling someone, look, I didn't have people teach me money management. I have to learn this now after my 30s. I didn't have the role model to teach me. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here admiring 20 people I know that's 20, that are at a young age that have things and they know how to manage money. And I'm sitting here like doing my best not to beat myself up, because sometimes you have to learn through other people, no matter their age. We learn through everyone. So I'm sitting here like, bro, let me not judge. Let me actually learn. What can I learn? What am I needing to see before I come into something? Because we just think just because someone in that said circumstances, we just assume like, oh, that's the all be all. It's not. Because I'm looking at my situation. Like I said, me publishing my books is me having to remind to see the negative as a positive and the positive as a negative. It's a balance. It's reminding me what I'm coming into, but also realize this too is temporary. Like I said, before y'all judge, y'all don't know what really people have to go through before they get to say what y'all deem as success. But even with that, there's still a responsibility. What comes with finances, what comes with that home, there's still a responsibility to that relationship. There's still things that are mirror back power struggles with yourself and other people. People that's on the outside looking in, you don't know the uncomfortability of the jealousy and the envy that you can pick up on just because certain relatives, may have this materialistically and they don't support because they didn't do what you did. They didn't do what you did. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot that people don't realize what comes with climbing the ladder and then, or going up the steps and seeing who, literally is tugging at your foot, or who's literally didn't see the ladder and they're more focused on your elevation rather than you going together. So again, these are messages to where I bring to y'all like, yeah, you don't know uncomfortability of someone shifting through and not trying to focus on, oh, well, man, you know what? Who should I reach out to? Who should I ask? Knowing that even if they may have it, they still may say no. You know, and that has to be revealed through those times just to show you, like, there's a saying goes, the elders used to say, people like to see you doing good, but never better than them. They want your life, but they don't want the fucking vices and the spiritual warfare that comes with it. They don't want that. So again, I just had to come and share that message because people just assume like, oh, well, it looks like this on social media, bro. You don't know what people going through. Like I said, this ain't even just, oh, I want to tell my business. Like, I'm giving y'all real and raw that you're going to get nowhere else. You don't know what people going through. You don't know if they on their last dollar and still trying to make their dreams or vision or certain things come true. You just assuming that everything is look great. I'm not here at all trying to portray that. No, I'm giving y'all real and raw. I'm giving y'all real and raw just to show you, like, look, people go through stuff before they get to a certain place. That is always going to be the human experience. It's all how you perceive it. It's all how you counter it. When I'm going through this shit right now, it's going through the storm. But I have to remember I'm the rainbow. There's times where I be like, well, where am I going to live? Well, where am I going to stay? And then when I get up in the rising from the previous day where I knew I had somewhere to stay, I have to tell myself, you know what? Everything's going to be okay. Let me focus my energy on to where, you know what? This is just a transition. I'm literally have to going through the uncomfortability, the emotions. I literally have to go through these things to realize, like, you know what? The outcome is going to be the best. Do you not realize the demographics in the program we came through to where I can only focus on the worst? And that's how much of mental clarity and mental peace I have gotten to do the inner work and the shadow work. And that's why I feel like what keeps people from elevating in life is not just their mind, but their internal world. If I was given a vision that I'm going to be at this resort, I'm going to be on this beach, then guess what? That most people are afraid of getting out of their comfort zone to having to navigate through the fact of like, okay, before you get here, let me see if you got integrity. Let me see if you can be honest with you first. No matter who judges you. Let me show you who this person is around you before I give you this gift. Before I put this in your lap. Before I give you this financially. You know, that's what the Most High is saying for a lot of us. And that's why I want to remind people of, you think you're supposed to get something right away and don't even realize, like, are you worthy? Do you feel worthy? Are you still going to feel worthy and grateful and appreciative through that uncomfortability of family and friends turning their back on you in that moment? So that you can prepare for other people who will pour into you, who will donate, who will share things with you. Can you still doing that part where I tell myself, like, man, you know what? Why will you create resentment or hold on to anger? Get through that, navigate that emotion just to be open to receive. Because again, everyone ain't gonna understand and comprehend your vision and so forth. There's a polarity, there's a balance in life where you have to see what is the Most High protecting you from, and then to be open to what is not only gonna pour into you, but these are moments through transition where you have to remind yourself to pour into you, to balance that life, to love yourself and to honor it. Because I'm telling you, man, I couldn't keep it in. I was like, bro, you know what? Let me give some people real and raw. Y'all don't know what people be really going through. Y'all don't know the vices and, you know, things internally. And I tell myself, I'm like, no, it's not looking for sympathy. It's just the fact of it's a shame that you have to see people who have pretended so long, even when they have it, then they get to a place where they're vulnerable and they'll literally go to the grave with their pride and assuming that they were right or assuming that they live a certain way. I cannot do that, bro. There's other men out there, there's other people who believe that just working hard to work. I'm like, no, that is not life, bro. I've been having to navigate my mental health and build my rebuild my self-esteem years before I can even learn to step out into the world again. It's like be reborn through these circumstances to know I'm worthy of it, to know I'm worthy of a new home or a new place, a new vehicle. That was versions of me that I had to navigate through, and I had to, eclipse through the old version to the new version of me. The confidence that I had to be to rebuild and be ready for the ones who, not that I care, that say, "Oh, you're not worthy of that." But how you gonna want something that you didn't have the audacity? I mean, the audacity of people to, try to say you don't deserve something or something like that when they didn't even have the courage to walk the walk or talk the talk or even live through that certain circumstances. So don't ever let people tell you that you're not worthy or you don't deserve, that life of harmony and peace. Do you know how you get to that? That's why I realize I'm grateful through all these experiences, because I can count my blessings. I can see, I do have this money. I do have $9. I have gas. I have, speaking that thing, I will have somewhere to live, or I will, there is levels there is shit you got to go through, uncomfortabilities, because everyone's not born with money. Everyone's not born into money. There's no judgment on people like that. But at the same moment, even the people with all the exposure, whether they're a celebrity, I don't care about that shit. Some of them are wishing they can be in a position where they can walk out and don't have to have all that attention. And truthfully, it all comes down to people just want to live amongst each other. These uncomfortabilities, these transitions happen just so people can realize, like, can you still be who you are? Are you going to bend, or are you going to dim your light in these moments? No, I refuse to. I'm gonna be as authentic as possible and live through integrity as possible. I have to. Who else gonna do it? Because I realize in a lot of our dynamics, in our family structures, they never seen what true masculinity looks like, which honors the femininity. The uncomfortability of the femininity that changes, and then the masculine that asserts that energy that asserts that. When I speak, that's just that masculine, but it comes from a feminine place. The uncomfortability of most men that can't speak, that won't speak their truth, that hide from their emotions. Nah, people go through stuff. I'm going through stuff. We all go through stuff. And I'm grateful that I can be able to say I'm going through this. But guess what? We all are. We all going through a storm. As if we choose to be a rainbow. I still got to be a rainbow in my own life and be like, well, you know what, kids? I'm grateful. I'm going to teach you how to be grateful through life changes. And no matter what people can say, guess what? You still got yourself. Your first and last love is you. We're going through things, but guess what? It's not the all be all. There is something greater and better on the other side. And there's always going to be that. Life is always going to be a balance. It's always going to teach you how to balance life. It's always going to teach you how to learn to love yourself through things. How you're going to have uncomfortable emotions, how you're going to have to breathe through things, how you're going to realize, like, there's times where you have to sacrifice certain things and realize, like, okay, you know what? I'm going to have to get through this, but I can still have joy through it and not pretend and not have to make up something like, oh, gosh, no. No, even when I'm driving through places or seeing people that's on the street, I ask myself, like, if you ask them, do they see themselves in a better position? Or do they want to stay there? There are people who mindset that they're comfortable with what they're experiencing. There was a sister even said that people like that are considered, royalty. It may seem oblivious to some people, but they can get anything they want at any time. And it's wild. That may be wild, but hey, it's all perspective. Again, I'm just from the other end of this video. You're gonna have your own perspective on life. Like, oh, you're gonna have your own perspective on my life and everything, and that's okay. But you know of somebody who's going through something right now that won't even tell you. They'll literally get to a place where their health is declining and so forth before they even ask for some type of support, before they even ask for some type of, guidance. And truthfully, I don't have the pride or, to hold it within myself not to say, hey, I'm open to support right now. I'm open to the guidance, with genuine intentions, with pure intentions. Because there's going to come a time where in humanity, there are a lot of stuff that's going to happen. And I'm sending y'all a warning right now. There are a lot of things this is not fear. There's a lot of things that's going to bring us. I've already told y'all this countless times. There are a lot of things that are going to happen catastrophically, because this is an Aquarian age, where a lot of truths are going to come out, where a lot of uncomfortabilities are going to come out, where it's literally just here to bring you closer to self and for us to see the oneness. Because I'm not the only one. I just choose to speak because my power is in my vulnerability. My power is within me. So there are going to be things that are literally here to bring us closer, not only to ourselves, but, to each other, but to ourselves, most importantly. The uncomfortable things that we try to keep hidden inside. So there it is. So I appreciate you all. If you feel led to donate, my information is in my description. And again, I always say this. I appreciate all the love and support right now. I don't feel shame and guilt around nothing. It's just a simple fact of remember that life can happen to anybody. And that's all of the part of this human experience. It's all a part of life. And with that, I always tell people, whatever you do returns to you. The energy you put out and the intention returns to you tenfold. That's it. And I'm a firm believer of that because it's literally happening to me now. Even through this transition, there's still glimpses of opportunity that's happened. It's just, this is how things happen. And I have to still, somehow, some way, there's this knowingness within me because I've navigated this journey so much with the healing that I'm always taken care of. I'm always taken care of. That's the security that I have. I'm always going to be taken care of because I'm a child of the Most High, of the Divine Mother and Father. I'm always going to be taken care of because there's a knowingness. And when you're focused on what you're here to do and what you love to do, there will always be something that will align with that. So take care of you for you. Peace and blessings. Shalom.